Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of the Real Football Show. My name is Coco, an RFL commentator. By my side, the main host of Jonyp Uncensored, Johnny P, with Zakaria right next to him, a Romford player, pretty good, and another man right next to him, Super Ducky 377, an ASM player, with the cameraman being saved by Yanzi, a Palmont player. So, with that being said, let's get started with a discussion. And the first game I think we should talk about is Dynamo versus Rheinblick.
I was the commentator of the Dynamo versus Rheinblick game, and if I'm gonna be honest, really lovely game. Pretty unlucky for Rheinblick, but let's talk about the two main players of the game, Stride and Brodev. Stride being the player Eclipos. So to started off, obviously the first goal that they had, Brodev had a lovely side lob right to Stride, who chested it and volleyed it top left corner. Lovely performance from the young lad. Pretty sure it's his second game playing for the lovely team, and he did show out. And I got some good points from our RFL fantasy team. But let's talk about Brodev. His solo goal was straight off of a goal kick where he chest controlled the ball. And honestly, lovely prediction from him. He slotted it right bottom corner. And honestly, I think it was a well-deserved win. Splash, pretty unlucky, but getting past Nico with his lovely dribbles. And honestly, just not seeing his players nor his defenders making runs up the pitch. Pretty unlucky for Rheinblick, but they do try their best. And I've seen them many times. But in the end, Dynamo, obviously, the better team, made it to the finals. Pretty self-explanatory, and good game to both teams.
Okay, if I may, there is something I want to ask about because I didn't really get to watch much of this match because I had something to do in real life. How did Shoverfi do? I know he kept his clean sheet, the Dynamo goalkeeper, but was he ever actually under any threat from the Rheinblick attack, or would you say that Dynamo had them locked down?
I didn't watch honestly, the show was okay. Like I was saying, show had pretty. He had put a bit of pressure on him, the Rheinblick got a couple crosses in, far post, sometimes the players just straight missed the ball right over their heads. Or sometimes I'm pretty sure Show had at least one save. But other than that, Dynamo defense looking pretty solid here with Jorge, Nico, and another guy. But they were pretty decent at the start, and I don't think they conceded. I don't think they were near conceding goals at all. So Show pretty calm and collected in the net, obviously showing much composure, giving good goal kicks, and yeah, basically.
Joe has to be one of the best goalkeepers in RFL. He's super underrated. When he played in Montsauveur, he saved us countless times. And I think he deserves a higher rating in RFL because he's like probably the most underrated goalkeeper right now.
Johnny, is there anything you'd like to add before we go to the next game?
Unfortunately, I couldn't watch that game, so no, nothing for me on this.
Alrighty, next game, and I think it's probably the most anticipated game of the week. Cordoba versus Hortaleza.
Yes.
What do we want to say about this game?
All right. Well, like last time, I'm gonna start it off unless Jacob wants to say something.
No, you go on for sure.
All right. So, like I was saying, really good match from both teams. Cordoba, pretty lucky at the end. Staticone hitting the game winner, I believe, at the 89th minute. Header from like an inch away from the goal line, but still pretty hard shot to hit, especially since there were two defenders on him. But to talk about Hortaleza's performance, now they were dying for the badge back there. They were intercepting through balls. Star, pretty new signing, but he was probably the star player of the match for them. Provido, doing absolutely everything that he could. Sent a good through ball to Greasy, who absolutely hit the knuckleball off the post. Really unlucky, 6S, wasn't there for the rebound. But Provido showing that he can push up and drop back as a defender and showing that he can be a crucial pinpoint for the team, being the anchor for their attack and defense. Pretty good game from both sides. Just really unlucky plays from Cordoba as well. Patty making up a couple runs up the pitch. Really lovely game from both teams. And I think, Cordoba was doing pretty decent at the end, but at the beginning, still getting ruffled by Hortaleza's reach. Obviously, full EU team. Scurinio, really unlucky in the box, hitting the post, obviously hitting out of bounds as well. Maybe he felt the pressure, or maybe he was just unlucky. Nobody knows, but all I know is that Cordoba tried La Pasión, but Hortaleza's Pasión was just there more, and that kept them from scoring on their own host. That's all I have to say for now.
Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously, you did talk about this one Brazilian man named Provido, and I would have to say that he was probably the most anticipated signing in RFL for some people, especially the Brazilians. Everybody was anticipating to see how he'd perform against SD Cordoba, and honestly, I would have given him man of the match if Stadicon didn't end up scoring and it ended a 0-0 draw. He was a star figure during that entire time, I'd say.
Yeah.
He was probably the most important player on that pitch, but
Yep.
you can disagree with me if you want.
Yeah,
Johnny,
especially-
Ducky, anything? Oh, go ahead.
especially that he's very Brazilian usually has higher paying, but you were talking about how both teams had really the same performance on the match. I think Cordoba really had the upper hand on this one. They kept it really going. You said about the passion. It really seemed to be on Cordoba's. I mean, just the headers were not going there. The Mosses, when they hit it, they were not going there. I mean, it was probably just an unlucky game that ended up with a winner from Stad. Just nothing to say, but Stad is a tap-in merchant. Okay, I'm kidding.
Okay, we'll see about that. Ducky, is there anything you want to say about this?
I didn't watch the game. I wasn't home, so I couldn't watch the game.
Fair play.
Well,
Okay,
unfortunately.
next one. Ducky, this is a game your team played. Montsauveur versus Saint-Roche.
Finally, someone.
Yeah, we dominated them.
Oh. What do we want to talk
dominated
about?
them. We dominated them the entire game. Noano,
Mhm.
3 goals, 2 assists.
God.
After Noano scored his hat trick, we subbed on Moment Soccer. We tried getting Moment Soccer a goal, but QT Vert is trash, and he sold the chance.
Yeah.
He was through on goal. Could have passed it to Moment. Moment could have scored a goal, but nope. Anyway,
Mhm.
Noano, very underrated. His rating is, I think 81 or 2 right now. And he's lower rated than some of the other midfielders in the game. But honestly, from my experience, he is probably the best, or at least the smartest midfielder in the game right now, and deserves like 85 at the least.
Yeah, I can completely agree with that. I think he's been consistently performing in everything you can find him in. Fan leagues, whatever, RFL preseason, and now in the main season with 5 goal contributions. I think this guy is the highest earning real football league fantasy player in the game right now.
Mhm.
I believe
if
he's
I'm
the
not-
highest earning in points.
If I'm mistaken, that is. I do have something to say. I commentated this game too, and the domination that happened was unreal. I mean, it was not the highest score, and probably just because they sometimes hit it off because the way they play, the trio that they started talking about, GVN, Gun, Vert, and Noano, the way they played, just beautiful. Of course, we'd love to see Moment Soccer score a goal in those dying minutes, but how they played, I remember one play where Gon just passed from in between 2 or 3, something that is completely different because one ball roll completely stops all of your play, and you just passed like he was flying. So this trio, though, I hope it continues. I hope it gives us the same exciting football that they gave us in this match, because it was nothing but beautiful. Good domination, just very well played from Montsauveur.
Yeah, 100%. Zakaria, yeah. Anything you want to say before we move on to the next game?
Honestly, I didn't see much of the game, but I would like to congratulate Noano for the hat trick and Vert for good performance, and for the team. I still love them. My homies, but a good game from them. I hope I see more, and hope I see more next season as well.
All right, so next game up on our list is CD Huelvo versus Tarragona. And now I really want to say something about this, because I remember talking with some people and they said, oh yeah, Huelvo has had one of the greatest rebuilds in a while. Like I heard something about them, like they're going to compete for like top 3 in the Spanish league, right? And then we look at the results and we see Tarragona kind of bullying them out 6-0. What do you think happened to that? Anyone?
I
I
didn't
heard a lot of good
really
things.
get to watch the game, but I think Huelvo were just dead. I've seen the list of players that they have. They have way too much quality for the football they played. At least from what I saw, Tarragona just completely dominated them. It shows by just the score. Score that happened twice this week, but just nothing beautiful from them. I hope they can figure out what's wrong, and I hope they can play the football they deserve to play with that quality they have on the squad.
All I have to say is, what happened, Drake?
Oh God, yeah, Drake, if you're seeing this, what happened, man? I'm not gonna lie, what happened? But yeah, Ducky, is there anything you want to add on about the game? Tarragona versus Huelvo.
Huelvo stole our players. Drake left out of the blue midnight. Got subbed off in the first half. He was on 30 MS. He said he started raging and started begging us to sign him back in the next transfer window. So yeah, good job, Tarragona.
Zach, anything you want to say?
Yeah, just looking at the stats here, you see Art Trooper with a goal and assist. Saw
Sean.
man, I don't even know who Sean with a goal. Yeah, but I don't know who man of the match would be. Honestly,
Man of
Eddie
the
had,
match was
goal and
I
assist.
know, because I think here let me pull up the stats here. They ended up giving the man of the match to Eddie the Warthog, which is honestly fair because we had 3 players with, I believe, the exact same goal contribution. One of them, so Art Trooper 55 had 1 goal, 1 assist. Sean had a goal. Cartsley had an assist. And Eddie had a goal and an assist as a midfielder. So I think that's like a good choice. But obviously Art putting up an insane performance as well. But yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and another thing. I'm looking back at this now. It appears that CD Huelvo actually forfeited this game, and so it's actually so they forfeited this one. That's interesting. But if there's nothing else we want to talk about, would we like to move on to the next game?
For sure.
All right. So the next game, the clash of the French Titans, excluding Montsauveur, because I'm gonna be honest, they're probably the favorites to win the French league, but I digress. The second and the third strongest teams, respectively, in my opinion, Palmont. By the way, shout out to Yanzi. I think he played that match, and Porteclaire. 7-1. What do we have to say about that game? Zakaria, go ahead.
Yeah, honestly, I really want to start this off, as a head commentator. Pretty sad game for Porteclaire. They had a pretty scary lineup on paper, just couldn't perform and couldn't execute in real time. New signing called Violet, who was 81 rated, honestly sold a couple of plays. I remember at the end to try and make the game 3-2 before it got bad. He was on a fast break on the left wing, and he had somebody in the middle who's getting covered. So it was a 3v2. And out of nowhere, he just Trivella passed it to him, and they got absolutely obliterated, sent right back out to the attack. And I'm pretty sure they scored off that too. Palmont, really good game, especially United too, with the good dribbles. He ankle broke somebody, absolutely insane. Palmont, whole entire lineup just good in general. Local supply being a good, like I said last time, anchor, such as Provido, for the team. He was doing a lot of plays. Rexy too with good dribbles, putting people on lockdown. Whole team in itself was pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned both of them, but you failed to mention the man of the match with 1 goal and 2 assists. The man, the myth, the legend, pushing 40 and playing RFL, Tyson Dino Nodi. He had an absolute insane performance. 3 goals. This guy gave me so many free points for my fantasy. I'm not gonna lie. So shout out to you, man. Pushing 40 and still doing this stuff in RFL. But I digress. Honestly, I'm surprised at the result because if you remember in the preseason semifinals lower brackets, Porteclaire actually beats Palmont 4-3. So there's that.
Yeah, you have to consider that this game ended up being an FFT after the 4-1 mark, but I didn't get to see their game, but even the manager said there was a sweet revenge. So all we have to do is to congratulate Palma and go next and hope that Porteclaire can get the performances they had.
Ducky, is there anything you'd like to say?
It was a shocking game. I mean, I didn't watch the game, but I came home to the result, and I was just like, I was shocked because I thought it would have been more of a challenge, like a 1-0 game for either team, because both of them are great teams and they're both really equal. But either way, it's just great from Palmont, and I'm excited to play them later in the season.
Yeah.
100%.
Look, just a question. Did you even watch any game? You haven't watched one game we've spoken about yet.
Okay, so I watched Montsauveur
Montsauveur.
versus Saint-Roche
But you
because I
were there,
played in
weren't
it.
you?
Yeah, I was playing.
So you didn't watch whatever. Okay, moving on. Probably the most expected result out of every game here. Milano 6, CD Bari 0.
That one was my job at commentating. It was a really great game that we got to see. Just we have to talk about two things. So breaking, absolute masterclass. First of all, at first he wasn't getting his shots on. He was getting the shots wide, or he was hitting the woodwork. But then he just, I don't know, he maybe polished his head with his hand. It was just hitting it every time. And that gave him the 4 goals that he got. But then the second point, and probably what most people maybe saw, was Ronaldo and how important he is to Milano. With Ronaldo, I'm open about that. He's my favorite player, but not even talking about that. I'm sure that with Ronaldo, they would have won the Brescia easily, because you saw the way it wasn't even a hard position to do. I think there was a video of a breakdown of the tactics. It is, at least to me, he was just going up when he had the ball to make an attack. It was just shifting in that middle position, but that is so important. He was everywhere. He was covering every ball, every pass, interceptions, just everything was at his command. He made beautiful passes to Abzi, to Bebe, even to breaking sometimes. Just the way they played, the way all of them played, it just really shows in the result. And the way they didn't get more. Well, we also have to talk about one attack of Bari. I'm not sure who it was. I think it was Maxi.
It was Maxi.
They finally had an attack, and he just out of nowhere side touches it. Could have taken a shot, could have taken a knuckle. No, he just side touches it. I have no idea why. Maxi, I hope you fix whatever happened. Just go forwards with it. And now good luck to Bari to regain whatever they can to win whatever they can. But with a Milan like this, it was an expected result. James Bond's performance, he lost 6-0, but James Bond's performance was so good. Everyone was in the RFL chat room saying James Bond, man of the match. His performance, his saves were something else. The way he played, the way he, in the beginning, I think I was joking with Gentle, the person that streamed and side commentated with me, along with Ellie. I was joking, when you have James Bond, you're guaranteed a good goalkeeper. And man, did I not lie. Even joking, did I not lie. The Hungarian was saving a lot of shots. It would have been like 13, been another Spezia Milano, if not for James Bond's performance. The way he played, I think he deserves a new rating, maybe a new team, because that man is going places.
Yeah, 100%. And another thing I want to talk about, we had multiple teams which on paper were like really strong. Like their teams are meant to be super teams, right? Like Huelvo and Porteclaire, but they ended up crashing out insanely, like large goal differential losses. But Milano is a super team that doesn't typically lose at all, even. And I think something that this is obviously I'm a commentator, I probably shouldn't be saying this, but I think a bit of advice for Huelvo and Porteclaire is getting the chemistry up, because Milano, not only are they a super team, but they work like a well-oiled machine. Okay, so I don't know, I think this was a pretty unsurprising result, CD Bari losing 6-0 to Milano. But
yeah, I think the
Ducky,
predictions were 91-9 or something like that.
Yeah, Zakaria, Ducky, anything you guys want to say?
This was another game I didn't watch, but I bet.
Okay, buddy.
Well, okay, so I watched the first 10 minutes, and I bet like all my channel points on CD Bari winning.
There was no way that
was-
was you. That was you.
Wow, that is all right, guys.
Nah, that's
Guys, just as a financial advice, please don't gamble everything on the worst odds all the time. This is not a good idea if you want to stay financially stable.
I've been disconnected
better.
for being inactive.
Ducky, Zach, anything else you guys want to talk about in the CD Bari versus Milano game?
Yeah.
At all?
I personally something to say. Yeah, honestly, pretty sad performance. At first, CD Bari's defense was looking really good. Mossing, honestly, everybody was hyping them up. I'm pretty sure everybody wanted them to win just because Milano always wins their games, and it's always boring to see the same outcome over and over again. But pretty bad attack from CD Bari. Their defense was definitely there. Goalkeeping was definitely there. But over time, it just kept cracking, and finally, Milano
It shattered.
destroyed them.
Yeah.
Just shattered like crazy. And Maxi too on that ball, he tapped to the left. Honestly, I don't know what he was thinking, but I think he tried to go out wide so he can get a cross in, or he could have just grounded it. Whatever he wanted to do, it just did not work, and he needs to do better next time. That's it.
All right. Another game I want to talk about: Spezia 4, Capitale 0. Now, I'm not gonna call anyone out on this one, but Capitale, I was talking with one of your players, and they said that they were gonna beat Spezia like 5-0. What happened?
I can probably tell you what happened. And one of the main problems they had was a person called Lemar55T, a player that I had quite some time with back in AC Pisa. Not as a player, I'm not good for that, but 3 minutes in, 1 goal, just first attack, bang. Then it was a draw up until the 70th minute, but quality all throughout Spezia. The Spezia rebuild is nothing to play, ladies and gentlemen. 2 goals from Lemar, like it's butter. Gatewes also a perfect performance. Denzo really good on controlling that midfield, and I'm thinking the left side. I'm not sure. Maybe the left, maybe the right. I don't know. All I know is that he played well. They played well. Spezia, really good performance from this rebuild. Finally, we got a rebuild that we did after everything that happened. We got the disbanding of the past Spezia, which was Ace. We got this new one, which was with LD, now with even Exige. Just quality all throughout. They chose the right players to sign, and that really showed on here. Capitale, they trash talked, and they didn't back it up. So they got to do better next time if they want to trash talk.
Yeah, I fully agree with what you've said. Another thing is, I feel like for an RFL team, you shouldn't be letting a goal happen at the first possible attack. Like, right? It was basically off kickoff, no? 3 minutes in,
Yeah,
1 goal.
it was literally out off of kickoff. I was all tapped, but if I remember, it was some passes. Then Lemar gets on the left side, able to get some space, does a small finesse. The goalkeeper doesn't even dive to the side; he just jumps. I have the clip is probably hanging around. There's also probably the stream. You can just see it for yourself.
You can see from the VOD. But Zach, anything you want to say about that game? Spezia 4, the Capitale no.
Capitale, pretty unlucky. Honestly, there's no words to describe what I saw that game. I thought they were gonna be better. They have a lot of active players, a lot of players with passion for the team. Honestly, to play for the Italian team, but they're just not that experienced. And obviously, as you saw, one of their players could not pick between playing center mid or winger, over dribbling a lot. Still getting used to the league. It's much different than friendlies and public servers. I think they were still getting used to it. But one name in mind. Not into name drop, but Tammy doing all he could. Still up the wing, not really finding that many options. He did have defenders running up as the same thing with the Cordoba game, always building up with your wing backs, but he just could not see that and kept getting reached, especially considering that Spezia had some EU players. But other than that, a pretty unlucky match for Capitale. Without Cam, I hope the team finds some guidance. But for now, all they need now is just a decent center mid who can give the plays up. Tammy, good dribbler down the wing, can definitely get some crosses in. Just can't play both at the same time. But yeah, other than that, the team's pretty decent. Good game.
Yeah. Ducky, is there anything else you want to say?
This was another game I didn't watch.
Oh my
I should
god.
stop asking you at all, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
but-
I should just stop asking you, bro. You only watch your own game. But with that aside,
Spezia, that's a good win.
Okay, so the final game we're gonna be talking about is Parma versus AS Rome. So I'm gonna be fully honest here. AS Rome was home, right? Just to check. AS Rome, it was their home stadium, yeah?
No, I'm pretty sure it was Parma's.
Was it? Because I was gonna say because someone told me AS Rome was at home and they only beat Parma 3-1, and I would have been surprised because AS Rome is known as one of the best NA attacking teams in the entirety of RFL. And well, taking a 3-1 win against Parma is very good, obviously, but to do it on EU, I kind of want to know what happened since the majority of Rome's team is NA, right? Because I didn't really get to watch this game.
Considering that Parma had a rebuild, I think it was going pretty good up until the end. At least they got a goal in, as a breath of fresh air. But other than that, the Parma rebuild was supposed to be good. And obviously, Roma is a really good team. If you lose against them, it doesn't necessarily mean you're bad. But Parma doing pretty decent on the rebuild, and I hope to see more from that team. Lovely young lads like Benrahma, etc. Barcelona Gaffer, and I really hope to see them rebuild Parma again.
Mm-hmm.
Bro,
Well, I mean, definitely, right? DJ Boy, I think one of the only not even UK, sorry, EU players in the AS Rome's team, but as something I'm surprised at was Mez mossing as a defender, because I didn't get to watch that game. Was he mossing UKs as defender? Why would they play in the NA attacker on defense? I digress. I think this is definitely an extremely interesting game. We had players playing wrong positions, and I'd say the underdogs because obviously they're away, and Rome is a mainly NA team with Parma being a mainly EU team, I'm pretty sure. And losing down their own host. But yeah, that's certainly an interesting game. And Ducky, I imagine you haven't watched this one yourself?
How'd you know?
Yeah. With that being said, I'm gonna go a little bit off script here and talk about a game that I found quite interesting: Romford versus Chorley, because one of the people on this table here actually played in it. Zakaria, tell us, how did that game go for you? Because I did not get to watch.
Yeah. Honestly, pretty good debut for me. The team, loved me. I was a pretty decent center mid there. Saw one of our main center mids who came from Rome. He's a European player, but sadly he couldn't go. But I had to, try and link up with the team. I was doing pretty decent. Got myself an assist off the wing. Really good player, Serba with the Moss. Really lovely player, to be honest. And, we were pretty struggling. They did score one goal off of us. Cheeky little moss on our defenders, but we easily bounced back and we scored 2 goals before they could score 1. Honestly, really good game, and we did struggle a little bit, but Bana with a lovely dribble around the keeper who got fouled at the same time he scored, so it would have been a penalty either way. But other than that, I love Romford, and as long as we got Chorley out the way, and I know we can beat them on our own host, I'm still looking for Ingrave, and I'm looking for New Break Thistle. We're coming for you, bro. Wallahi, we're coming for you guys. That's it.
All right, and if that's all, genuinely, thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Real Football Show. Obviously, I'm just going to say this now in case B-Sweet decides to cut this one out. Shout out to my boy Tyson, pushing 40 and dropping man of the match performances in RFL, absolute beast. But with that being said, thank you guys for tuning in, and goodbye. See you guys maybe next week. We'll see.
Bye-bye.